What's up, Diamond Squad? Welcome back to my channel and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Diamond Chat. If you haven't already, make sure you go and hit that subscribe button right down below. And if you want to know a little bit more about me or a little bit more about Diamond Air, make sure you go on social media and follow me at Staniqua C and at Diamond Air. So on today's Diamond Chat, I wanted to talk about something that has been near and dear to my heart, that's been in my brain for the longest, that I need to talk about because I constantly experience this on a daily basis. People that I mentor experience these things. People that I just stumble upon in life, we go through these things and we text each other back and forth and we'll be like, yo, have you dealt with this? Hey, have you dealt with this? Yes, I have. So I have decided I wanted to talk about some misconceptions of being a virgin, being on a weight, being abstinent or celibate, because, our job is to inform the people, okay? And I am part of the voice of the people. So I decided that I wanted to talk about some of these misconceptions. In the comment box below, those of you who are watching, please feel free to tell me some of the misconceptions that you've encountered or dealt with in some form or fashion. And if it's one that I haven't mentioned, maybe in a later video, it could be ones that we can expand upon and talk about in a later video. So let's get right into our diamond chat. So I would say the first misconception that I typically get, right, and that I see a lot of my friends who are abstinent and celibate get, is when it may not even necessarily be when we're dating, but typically it happens in like the early phases of dating when you have to have that conversation and say, oh, I'm a virgin, or oh, I'm celibate and this is what I'm practicing. You always get that look like, oh my gosh, you are? I didn't think you were because you didn't look like one. And it's so annoying. Like I that is one of the biggest misconceptions that drives me crazy is I don't look like one, really? So I don't look like one? Okay. So then I become, okay, well, me, I have a little bit of a sarcastic mouth at sometimes, and I'm still working on it. The Lord is still really working with me on that. So when I get that statement from people, a lot of times I go, so I don't look like a virgin? Or, they don't look celibate or abstinent? So can you please tell me, inform the people, please inform me what a virgin looks like, or what someone who is celibate or abstinent looks like? Because I think sometimes people have this weird connotation in their head that because we're abstaining from sex, or because we're not giving our bodies up in that sense, that means that I can't wear particular things, like I just wear turtlenecks year round, or I just wear muumuus all year round. No, like, of course I'm gonna wear some distressed jeans because I like distressed jeans, okay? Yeah, I may be curvier and I may want to show off my curves someday, but that doesn't make me any less of a virgin because I'm wearing a crop top. That doesn't make me any less of a virgin because, I want to wear a form-fitted dress or a form-fitted skirt, or I may like the way my shape looks in something, so I'm gonna wear it. I think that's a misconception that really needs to be broken. I think sometimes people feel like I said before, like because, oh, you're saving yourself or you are on this journey of purity, that means that you can't be stylish, you can't have swag. Like, no, I'm a virgin, and yes, I'm still gonna wear some heels. Yeah, I'm a virgin and I'm still gonna wear my Jordans because who says that I can't wear my Jordans? It's my money, I buy what I want to buy. And I think that's one of the most, like, the most common misconception, the most astonishing fact or statement that people say to me a lot of times, and I've heard say to my friends, because they may meet me and I'm wearing a particular outfit, and then when I say that statement, they're like, what? Like, you are? But I didn't think you were, because, you know, you was just wearing that the other day. Okay, your point, so what? I'm not dead. I'm alive. I'm allowed to have a sense of style. I'm allowed to be fashionable. I'm allowed to wear cute things and be able to express myself through my fashion. So please stop saying that to people. Please stop saying that to us, because, you know, that can be very annoying and very offensive. Because I don't judge you by what you wear. I don't think to myself, oh, this person is this because they're wearing whatever. No, I don't do that. So I would really like for that label to stop being put on, like, oh. Or if there's a definition of what somebody who is pursuing purity, if there's a definition of what we should and should not wear or be dressed, please let me know. Because I personally don't have that memo, and I didn't know that there was a thing. So yeah, if there is, please enlighten me. But until there is an enlightenment, until I see a true definition or true fact, I'm gonna wear what I want to wear and be proud in what I wear and feel good and feel confident in what I'm wearing, and not feel as though because you're trying to put a label or put me in your box, I have to wear X, Y, and Z. No. I can wear a crop top and still say, I'm not giving my body to you. I can wear a cute dress and still say, no ring, no thing, okay? So, it is what it is. Get over yourself, you know? Stop. So, that's misconception number 1. Is that, oh, you don't look like somebody who's pursuing purity to me. And I would say the second misconception is that, oh, something must be wrong that you're waiting. Something must be wrong with you that you have decided not to have sex. How about, no, nothing's wrong with me. I am perfectly fine. I am in my right mind. I am of good health, good strength. You know, I got my glow up, my level up going on. And nothing's wrong with me. I've just made a choice that I've set a standard. Just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean that I have to. I mean, my thing is, if I see that the fire's gonna burn me and I've seen the burn marks on you, why does that mean that I have to burn myself? Why do I have to voluntarily walk in the fire if I've seen you walk in the fire and you've been burned? No, there's nothing wrong with me. I've just just like you've consciously made a choice or decision to do what you were going to do, I've constantly have made a choice and a decision and a vow that I've made to myself, and not just to myself. Well, mainly to myself. I take that back. A conscious decision and a vow that I've made to myself that this is what I want to do, and this is a standard that I want to set. And it doesn't mean that anything's wrong with me, or I'm making this choice out of a position of lacking anything, because no, if I'm being honest, I'm 100% whole. I'm whole, and there's no gaps in me. You know, I know that I'm not perfect, and we all have to continue to grow, you know, and evolve, but nothing's wrong, you know. I'm me, I'm whole, I'm free, I'm healed, I'm loved, I'm blessed, and I'm just full of joy. So stop doing that. You know, if you are a family, I shouldn't say family member, but if you are a person that when someone tells you that you down them, or you automatically think because they decided to wait that something must be wrong, or if they decided that they're going to abstain from something, that, oh, like there needs to be an extra conversation because something is wrong or something is missing, or you're missing the boat with something. No, nothing is wrong, nothing is being missed, or nothing's wrong with me individually as a person. This is just the choice that I decided to make, and I have thought about it, and I have spent the necessary time that I needed to spend with myself, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pursue it. So just because I've made this decision doesn't mean that something's wrong. I am in my right mind. I am fully capable of making a sound and good decision for myself, and I trust myself enough to know that the decision that I'm making is good, and it has nothing to do with being in lack or feeling less than or having something being necessarily wrong. Okay, so glad I could clear the air for you on that. So, if you have a family member who's waiting, it doesn't mean anything's wrong. I've experienced that a lot with being on this weight myself personally, where when I told people that I was going to wait, a lot of people in my, not a lot, but a few family members being in my circle, like, well, what's wrong with you? Why would you do that? Like, what do you mean? Instead of encouraging me, instead of pushing me and motivating me and saying, you know what, niece, or you know what, cuz, or you know what, friend, that's dope. I commend you. I congratulate you. I hope that it continues to work for you. Instead of saying all of those things, you're looking at me like I'm taboo because I'm being the anomaly when everybody else is to the left, I'm over here to the right. No, there's nothing wrong with me being over here to the right. Okay? I will stand here on the right, being great, living my best life if I have to, if that means that I don't have to conform and be to the left. So, sorry to bust your bubbles or hurt your feelings, but no, we're all good over here. We are all whole, healed, and loved. So yeah. The third misconception that really annoys, well, yeah, it's probably one of the ones that really annoys me, is that I get when I do start dating guys and I tell them, oh, I'm a virgin, not having sex till married, not having sex until I'm married, is, well, am I the first guy that you've dated? Or it's, well, are you one because you haven't dated a lot of people? No, contrary to the fact, you were not the first guy that I've dated. I have dated a few guys. I'm not going to say a plethora or whatever, but I've dated a few guys, and just because I decide not to give my body in that way doesn't mean that I've been alone or isolated or I haven't dated anyone, because I've dated guys. I've dated multiple guys, as a matter of fact, and for all of them, it hasn't been an issue. The relationships may not have worked out, but it's not an issue. Me being a virgin hasn't really been an issue, so I don't even understand why people think that I would just be hiding underneath this rock and just so sheltered and so protected that no, I'm not allowed to date her. Oh, because you are, pursuing a life of abstinence or celibacy, that, you can't date anybody, because that's contrary to the fact. Because at the end of the day, if I'm saying I'm not going to have sex until I get married, okay, the only way I'm going to be able to find that person to connect with and be my husband is through dating, right? So if I'm not dating, how do I expect to be connected to my husband, right? It's kind of like a common sense type of situation. So yeah, I do date. So people stop thinking that. I think it's so annoying because, especially in the beginning when I first told people that I was gonna not have sex, and it's funny because every one of my friends and the people that I mentor and coach, that's one of the first things that they get asked. It's like such a bomb. People feel like because you're dropping such a heavy landmine on them, that they automatically means that you're saying you're all out. And it's contrary to the fact. I'm not telling you that I'm a virgin or I'm waiting because, oh, I don't want you to date me. I'm not using it as a cop-out. I'm using it to tell you that, you know, we can date and I'm down for dating. I like you, you like me, but I'm letting you know this is the standard that's being set forth. And if you decide you want to abide by that standard, okay, cool, we can work with this, we can build and see what happens. But if you don't want to work and build on this, okay, cool, I've just letting you know my standard before we get in a situation and there's no conversation and you didn't know before. So with that being said, yeah, that's not true. That's definitely a misconception. Is no, definitely when you're in a weight, you still date. You're still human. You still, just, how can I say it? Like, I'm trying to think. My grandma would say, just because I've made a choice and I made a decision doesn't mean that I'm not alive and I'm not thriving in that area. Just because I'm not having sex with somebody doesn't mean that I'm not going to date you. That's crazy, because I still like you. I'm still attracted to you mentally and emotionally. So of course, you know, we're gonna date. You know, a relationship is deeper than the physical, or at least a relationship should be deeper than the physical. There's so many plethoras in different areas of a relationship. So just because I'm not doing one thing doesn't mean that we're gonna rob ourselves of understanding you or knowing you or dating you in another area. So our motives and our intentions just may be different when it comes to dating, but even in a way, you know, we date. In a way, we date, okay? We just date cautiously and are very particular. So, in a way, we date. Then on to our next misconception, which is one of the ones that I am always so proud of and so funny to me. I don't know if you guys have watched my previous video on the 5 benefits to waiting, but in that video, and if you want to check it out, I'll post the link as well. But in that video, I talked about one of the benefits of waiting being self-discipline, right? So one of the common misconceptions I get, or that I have gotten, I don't know if I had anybody that struggled with this one yet as much as I have, but one of the most common misconceptions I get is, oh, you're in a wait because you've never been in a tempting situation, or oh, you're in a wait because you've never been alone or one-on-one with a guy. And it's like, don't flatter yourself, sweetie. Don't flatter yourself, honey. I have been in a few tempting situations that I probably shouldn't have been in, but I have been in tempting situations. But because of my self-discipline and understanding the standard, and have been going through this for so long, that at the end of the day, even though I'm in a tempting situation, it doesn't make me forget about the promise that I made. You know what I mean? I have been in tempting situations and I can definitely be attracted to you physically, but at the end of the day, my promise outweighs my pleasure, and at the end of the day, my promise does not, my pleasure, the attraction doesn't override the promise that I have made. I'm just selective, you know, if I could, and every time somebody says that to me, I just think it's crazy to think that I couldn't be in a tempting situation. No, actually, sometimes you have to be in tempting situations to know what are your triggers and what are the boundaries that you need to set. Because if you've never been in tempting situations, how do you know what your boundaries are? Right? So yes, I have been in tempting situations. I may in the future be in a tempting situation, but a tempting situation doesn't dictate my weight. Yes, that's the right word. I want to make sure that's the right phrase I want to use. Yeah, a tempting situation doesn't dictate my weight. Me being in a tempting situation doesn't mean that I'm not gonna continue to pursue my weight because I'm in one. Just because my flesh is tempted doesn't mean that I'm gonna go, okay. And of course, I'm not encouraging anyone who's on the weight. If you are, especially if you're in the beginning of a weight and you're in a new weight, I'm not encouraging you to just go and do it, be in a tempting situation. But I'm just saying, as someone who's been on this journey for 30 years now, because I am 30 years old, and as someone who has really built her self-discipline, I can be in a tempting situation and not necessarily be easily moved. So don't think because you're dating me that I haven't been in a tempting situation, or don't think as though because you put me in a tempting situation that I'm necessarily going to go ahead and just forget all about my weight and be like, oh, it's okay, let's just go ahead. No, because that's what's not going to happen. What's going to happen is if you put me in a tempting situation, I'm going to remind you of my weight in the midst of and fall back. I may not even date you anymore after that. But ultimately, if someone understands your journey and understands your weight, they shouldn't even be putting you in a tempting situation. Point blank, period. The fact that you're putting me in a tempting situation shows me that you're not even worth my weight. The fact that you would even make the statement to me when we're dating, like, oh, you clearly haven't been in a tempting situation. No, don't flatter yourself. It's sometimes it's just rude. Certain things just don't need to be said, and I feel like that is one of them. I think that, like I was saying before with previously, sometimes people feel as though we live under a rock, and it's like, no, I've been in some high pressure situations, but that doesn't mean that I am not going to keep pursuing my weight. So yeah. I'm pretty solid, and we're going to keep moving forward. So yes, I've been in tempting situations just like anyone else, and we're good. And the last and final one that I'm going to talk about, which is going to set a lot of people free, I think, is that my experiences are discredited. Well, but you know what? Maybe this may not be the last and final one, but this is the second to last one, I would say. But that my experiences are discredited. I see that happen a lot. I've had it happen to me a few times, not all the time, but people feeling as though you can't give solid relationship advice because you're not having sex. Like, because I don't know why people think that, but they just have this weird connotation in their head that because you're not having sex, you can't really give them advice about their relationships. And it's like, what do you mean? And not just necessarily relationships. I see it a whole lot more when it comes to dating, but in life in general, I think sometimes people have the connotation that, you know, because you haven't gone through it with X, Y, and Z, or because you haven't dated someone and sex be involved, you can't give me any type of advice. And it's like, what kind of crap is that? First of all, don't discredit my experience based upon your experience, because I'm not doing that to you. I am not going to judge you based upon your experience and your things that you've gone through in life. So don't judge me for mine, or don't make me feel as though my opinions and my experiences are less than because they're not yours. Because that's not true. You know, even with being in a weight, you know, we date, we go through rejection just like somebody else may go through rejection. You know, we go through heartbreak just like any other person does in a relationship. You know, the common things that some couples argue about or fight about in a relationship, you know, we go through that too. And honestly, it's probably even more frustrating for us because, well, it's sometimes it's just harder for you because, you know, sex is involved, and, you know, there's all of those other things tied into it. But at the end of the day, you know, what we've gone through is real. The things that you're going through that we've possibly have been similar to and gone through as well, is real. You know, dating someone with not knowing who you are and not having enough confidence or self-love in yourself, that's real. That's something that I've been through, and I can still relate to a person who has dealt with the same thing, even though there's sex involved, and that doesn't make my experience or my advice any less than because sex is involved. I have a lot of friends who how can I say, I have a lot of friends who respect the advice that I give them because I am coming from an unbiased, non-judgmental place, and they think that it's dope that even though I may be in a weight, it's good to see that even in a weight, there's things that I've experienced and I've encountered that's very similar to theirs, and we're able to continue to build and continue to grow and give each other the tools that we need to move forward. So I definitely encourage and suggest, don't discredit someone else's life journey or their experience or their advice. I mean, I understand that not all advice is good advice, but if it's someone that's in your corner and your friend and they're really solid and you know that what they're telling you is for your good and not for your evil, if they're in a weight, don't discredit their advice because they're in a weight and you're not, and your journeys are different. That's not cool. That's not fair. That's not true, because you know what? I have saved a lot of my girlfriends a lot of headaches that I have gone through with dating based upon my advice and they accepting my advice and my experience for what it is. So, you know, we have some good life lessons and wisdom in us too. And now, the last and final misconception that I will say is that I think that misconception that I've seen and that people around me have seen is that other people feel like they can't talk about sex around us. Like they feel like they have, like we have to cover your virgin ears. You cannot be listening to this because this is so horrible. Goodbye. Okay, first of all, sex is everywhere. If you haven't noticed, on television and music, everything that we do, there's some, not everything, but like sex is around us 24/7. What do you mean? Stop doing that. I hate it. It drives me crazy when I hear, and I've even had like friends, you know, not like they're not friends anymore, but old friends with your corona be like, Staniqua, cover your ears because we're talking about it. No, actually, let's talk about it, you know, because your experience, you sharing with me the things that are going on may solidify even more why I'm staying in a weight. Okay, you telling me your experience may then in return be able to allow me to give you a few nuggets that may be able to help you, you know, in deciding to wait. But don't ever feel as though because someone is a virgin or because someone is celibate or abstinent that you can't talk about sex, because it's like, no. First of all, sex had to be talked about for us to make the decision to say, I'm gonna wait, right? So it was a conversation that had to be had before in order for us to do it. So don't feel as though you can't talk about it around us. Now, one thing I will say to those of us who are in the weight, those of you who are in a weight, whoever you are, when your friends do come to you, or your family members or whoever they are, whenever they do come to you to talk about sex, don't be giving them that little stank, judgy look, like, and you know which judgy look I'm talking about. The look where you just look at them like, I'm better than you because I'm waiting. No, don't do that either. If they're coming to you and your friends and your family are coming to you wanting to talk to you about it, don't be that. You should be the most non-biased person when it comes to their sex lives, because you don't want anyone being biased and judgmental about your sex life, even if it is non-existent, okay? So feel as, you know, a good friendship, a good relationship with whoever you're around should be to be able to talk about any and everything, right? So you don't want to feel as though you have to close parts of yourself off because you don't want to touch, like, step on people's toes and things of that nature. Like, no, if they know you, we know your heart's intent. Your intent is never to step on our toes or be rude So don't feel as though you have to walk on eggshells about talking about sex. If it's something that you really want to talk about and you don't have anyone else to vent to, talk away. Allow the person to talk to you about it. You know, all of my friends talk to me about sex. All of them have talked to me about, you know, the things that they've gone through, their sexual experiences, and things of that nature, and I've never been judgmental. I give my 2 cents, you know. We may be laughing or cracking a joke or two about it, or it may be a very serious and deep conversation, and then, you know, we need to pray about it, or just have a really adult conversation about it. But allow people in, and I think the issue may be sometimes, even as those of us that are in the wait, sometimes we feel as though because we are in a wait, it would be bad to talk about, but it's not a bad conversation to have. You should sometimes have those conversations. You need to have those conversations at sometimes. So yeah, I would say you can talk to us about it. It's not gonna make us burn on fire, and it's not gonna hurt our ears or anything like that, because, you know, it's around us every day. And like I said, you know, the conversation had to be had for us to even make the decision that we were gonna wait. So I pray that this video helps. It continues to keep you empowered for the journey ahead. Those are all of the misconceptions that I can think of right now. Those were like the common ones that I have seen as a common trend throughout life. But like I said, if there's any other misconceptions that you think that I missed and that you would want me to talk more about, make sure you go down in the comment section and below and list those, as well. If there's any other topics that you want me to talk about when it comes to weight, when it comes to life, when it comes to the friendship, make sure you put those comments down below and tell me what you need, tell me what you're thinking, and we will talk about it. We will discuss it, you know, because at the end of the day, my job is to empower you for the journey ahead. So I pray you all have a good week, continue to be blessed, and I love you guys. Bye.